Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Archives with Adam and Fab. Today we have a guest that you guys are very familiar with, but you guys may not know her other than as the voice of Siri. We have Susan Bennett on today. How we doing?
Excellent. Thank you.
Of course, of course. So a lot of people may know you as the voice of Siri, but I know you from such movies as Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe, um, as well as a movie that was just introduced to me, and that was Margaux, and where you did voiceover for, or the voice for the AI that's controlling the house or
Right.
the 3D printer.
Yep.
So a lot of people talk to you about Siri, but I do want to talk to you about those because I mean, you do more than Siri, you
Yeah.
know?
Now, don't forget my big debut as the submarine in the movie The Meg about
The
that
Meg.
giant shark.
Oh, you were in there?
Yeah, I was the voice of the submarine in the first one, the original Meg. I didn't get on Meg 2 for whatever reason.
Gotcha. I did not know that. But the thing is, I didn't know that because I've never seen the movie,
Yeah.
but I do need to go see it.
It's not a great movie, but it's
So when it
funny.
came to you didn't like it?
No, it's
I've
just
heard
kind of
so many
silly.
great things about
Yeah.
it. Gotcha. So when it came to Margot, how did you land that role?
I don't really know. All of this stuff goes through my agent, and many times I
Right.
don't even really know what's going on. I just have the small part of the script that I'm a part of, and so but I do get to ask to be a lot of AI voices.
And I was gonna say that that seems to be like something that you are casted for. I mean, you played even in the Lego Batman movie as the Bat computer, which is an AI voice, right?
I'm all kinds of computers. What can I say? The irony is that
Do you watch?
I'm not a
Oh, go
techie.
ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. The irony is
Oh,
that
no, you're good.
I'm part of these voices. I'm part of these machines and everything, and I'm terrible with technology. I'm just awful. It's like if there's a wrong button to push, I will find it.
And it happens. It happens. I mean, it's changing so much nowadays. It's insane, right?
Absolutely.
So have you seen any of the movies that you've had your voice in there? I know you,
Mm,
like you said, Meg. Did you see Margot? Did you see the Lego Batman
I
movie?
saw the Meg because my son was visiting one time and we saw it was
Hmm,
streaming. I said, "Oh, we got to watch this thing."
gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I thoroughly enjoy it, and I was sitting there because Halloween just passed, and we were watching some horror movies and stuff like that, and my girlfriend's like, "There's this movie we really got to watch," and I was like, "Okay, well, what is it?" And she's like, "Well, you like the Saw movies and things like that, but you really got to watch Margot," and I'm like, "Show me that," and so watched the trailer, and I was like, "That's the voice of Siri." And I was just like, let me just reach out. I have to reach out just because I mean, your voice is, I mean, it's just it's there, everybody is pretty familiar with it.
Yes.
So what got you into voice acting?
Well, it was kind of an accident, really, because I'm a singer, and I
Mm,
used to do a lot of singing jingles, in the studios back in the 70s and 80s. And one day, I was singing with several other people in a group for a commercial, and at the end of the session, it turned the voice out. The voiceover actor didn't show up to read the copy for the spot. And so the owner of the studio said, "Susan, you don't have an accent. Come over here and read this copy." And I did. And I went, "Oh, ding, 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 I can do this." So I got some voice coaching and an agent, and I've been doing voice work ever since.
there you go. I mean, and it's not just for anybody to just jump into, right? I mean, would you agree?
A lot of people are trying. I mean, it's a lot of fun. It pays well when you do it. The problem is that there's so much competition now, that every time you do an audition, you're auditioning against a lot of people. So you have to spend a lot of time auditioning, really. But, if you want to do it, you just put together a 60-second demo. And there are ways to sign into some of these production companies, that are just online. You don't have to get an agent right away. In fact, it's probably good practice for you to sign up for voices.com or Voice123, because they send out tons of auditions. And it's good practice to just do them, get used to doing them.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. I mean, and I remember when I was doing some research, because I don't want to like ask you all the same questions that you're used to about Siri. I wanted to change it up a little bit, but I
Yeah.
ran into this one clip where there was this girl. She actually like they called her the real life Siri, but I mean, we have you're the real life Siri. It's just people that want to mimic and things like that, and praise to people that can do it. Um, but we got to be original. We have to do our own thing, right?
Yep.
How do you feel about AI technology, being that you've been the voice behind it? Are you too familiar on that?
I'll tell you, AI kind of scares me because it's getting to the point, especially with this chat GPT thing. This character can totally replicate any voice. So you could just see some CEO of a giant corporation say, well, let's just get an AI instead of these 10 voices. The AI can do all of them. So I don't know. And that was one of the reasons that SAG-AFTRA was striking for the last few months. They just came to some agreement. But from my understanding, I don't know that they've really gotten a great agreement on AI, because it's still such a new thing. It's not new to the tech people and the people behind it, but for the lay people who are going to be affected by it, it's kind of new. We're not sure how to handle it.
Definitely. And for me, I ran into it one day. I was just sitting in the parking garage at work, and I'm like scrolling through TikTok, and I'm seeing music covers that are put over like a different artist's voice, and I was like, that's not even their song, but they could mimic that.
Yep.
And then I've been playing with it myself recently, because I lost my grandma back in September, and I made like a little tribute video for her birthday, and I got her voice like down. I was just like, this is insane. It's just so scary what it's like,
Yeah, the repercussions could be pretty interesting, especially on voice actors. Those are the people that are gonna have to fight for it,
Exactly. It's unfortunate. It really is. And then we obviously have scammers out there in the world, and there's so much that could go into it. It's a very scary thing.
Yeah, I really don't know how we're going to handle it, but I think, it seems it seems like in the next 10 or 20 years, I mean, human beings are going to become superfluous. It's just, I don't know what we're going to do. We wander around, buy stuff, and eat, I guess.
Exactly.
All of our jobs are going to be done by a machine.
Yeah. When it comes to other voice things that you've been a part of, so I mean, I mentioned the ones that I know you from. Is there anything else that you have been included in that I myself haven't listed off, or even that other people may have heard in their everyday life?
Well, for years and years, I did a lot of commercials, and I just I don't think there's anything out there right now. But a lot of times people will just use my voice. I always tell everyone, I said, if you hear my voice somewhere, let me know, and my agent will get me paid, and I'll give you a kick. I'll give you a little something for letting me know. Yeah, because that was the problem. It was the beginning of all this stuff. And when I did all the recordings in 2005, and I've spoken to the two of the three other original Siri voices, and they had the same experience too. We read these crazy sentences that were created just to get all the sound combinations in the language. And they made absolutely no sense. They were really wacky. It was crazy stuff. And we had to read, like, I know that I worked for the month of July 2005 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, reading crazy sentences. And then 6 years later, boom, we were all Siri. It's like, oh, that's what they did with all those recordings.
Yeah, 2011. I mean, that's when Apple users got introduced to Siri was then. So 6 years later, that's insane. And they never paid you, right? They never paid you for that.
Apple
They just
did
held
not
your voice.
pay us. No, not the original voices. They did pay subsequent voices. They changed the voices. And I've heard different stories about why they did that. I think that what they wanted to do was keep Siri, keep her character, keep what people envision her as being, as a personal thing for each individual person. And so they didn't want to have a face associated with Siri. And so they changed the voices. And I think they changed it 2 or 3 times since I've been on there. But the new Siri voices did get paid, although my agent assures me, he said, don't feel bad. He said, you didn't miss anything. And the advantage that the original Siri voices had is that we could call ourselves the voices of Siri, and no one could, have an issue with that, because we didn't have a non-disclosure agreement, which all the people who got paid do have, so.
Gotcha. And so did you originally record for Apple at that time, or was it just like?
No, it was a company originally it was called Scansoft, and they became Nuance. And they were the company that collected all these voices, like a giant voice bank. And Apple bought the voices from them. So the actual humans that provided those voices were completely
oblivious,
ignored. And but as I said, the advantageous thing for us is that we did not have non-disclosure agreements, so we could do. I mean, I got a brand new career from Siri. I do a lot of speaker events and going around different parts of the country. I've even gone globally to different places, and just telling the story of Siri, how it was done. A lot of people still, at this point in time, don't realize that the voice came from a human. They think it was just computer generated, and not true.
And it sounds like it, but obviously, I mean, even just talking to you now, you could hear the voice behind it.
Yeah,
right?
you hear it.
Even,
yeah, the actual voice is a little more down there. Hi.
There you go.
What can I help you with?
Yeah, so they kind of put the robot sound, I guess you could say, on it. But yeah, doing these episodes and stuff, I mean, I've done, this would be my 24th now. But I hear so many different stories how companies get around things, and with the SAG-AFTRA, just hearing how those kind of things have played out. I just had one this last weekend where I was talking to a gentleman. He was an actor, and a lot of the shows, they were trying to put them onto like these platforms, the streaming platforms, and there was ways to work around it so they didn't have to pay them.
Right. Yeah, it's things were much easier when I first joined SAG-AFTRA. Was a long time ago, and everybody played by the rules. If you were going to do a commercial, you signed a SAG-AFTRA form, and you got paid well. And then if they showed it again in another 13 weeks, you got paid again. And they, as a union, they offer healthcare and pension and welfare and that kind of stuff. And it's sad that so much of it has, gone around the union, and they don't use it. But it's been the union's been very, very good to me, and I think it's a wonderful thing. I hope they keep around, stay around and get even stronger.
Definitely. So how did you find out about the voice of Siri when that happened? I'm sure you get asked this question. I mean, it's pretty
it's interesting. October 4th, 2011 is the day the Apple iPhone 4S came out, and that's the first time anyone ever heard Siri. And a fellow voice actor emailed me and said, "Hey, we're playing around with this new iPhone app. Isn't this you?" And I went, "What?" And so I went on the Apple site and listened, and I went, "Yes, that's me." where'd they get my voice? And yeah, so it took me a while to figure out what I wanted to do about that. I looked into possibly even suing Apple, and I talked to a lot of different attorneys, and they just said, nope, the thing that you signed when you were recording your original stuff in 2005 kind of gets around all that. And I said, oh well, what's the next step? It was a great lesson in life, trying to spin something that's not so good into something that is good. And so that's what happened with me in the Siri speaker events. And when I did finally reveal myself as the voice of Siri, I had a lot of fun. I did appearances on CNN, HLN, the Queen Latifah show. I read the top 10 list for David Letterman, did a skit with Jimmy Kimmel, and did hundreds and hundreds of interviews. So it was really fun.
I bet. I mean, at the end of the day, it may seem like you may, I guess, use the word as shafted, but I mean, if that's the route that we want to go, but I mean, you have a career out of it now, I mean,
Absolutely.
you're on the big screens and things
Well,
like
thanks
that.
to my wonderful agent in Los Angeles, Wes Stevens, and his business partner, Tom Lawless. They've been very, very good to me. And when I hear my voice on something that I haven't been paid for, I get Wes on it. He's an excellent negotiator. So
there you go. Have I heard your voice at the airport before?
Oh yeah,
within Delta. I swear I thought I've heard that before.
My voice is on Delta Airlines gates worldwide. Yes. I'm sorry, you're in row Z.
That's awesome. How do you think Siri would sound if she was mad? Or is that something you think you have a general idea?
If Siri was mad?
Yeah.
Well, the original Siri voice was a little bit snarky. She had attitude. The original.
Okay.
Siri. Yeah. I use this in my presentations. The very first time I spoke to Siri, I said, "Hi Siri, what are you doing?" And she very disgustedly answered, "I'm talking to you."
See, I didn't get to enjoy the newer, like the earlier years of Apple.
Yeah, the newer one. Like yeah, the current Siri, I have to say she's a millennial. She's kind of youngish sounding and more casual. She's not very authoritative. Whereas the first Siri, would just put you in your place. And maybe people didn't like that, so they changed the voice.
It's different for sure. Is there anything that you're in works on right now that you could share?
Not really. I still do a lot of Siri-like work, and I'm also a singer and keyboard player and keyboard bass player. So my husband's a fabulous guitarist, and we're in a couple of different bands. So we're somewhat busy with that, especially with the holidays coming up. We've got some stuff. We've got some gigs coming up, so that'll be good.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Do you guys have like a YouTube channel where we could find your music? Are you guys on Apple, Spotify?
We're really bad about that. We're really bad about putting anything on YouTube. We need to start doing that for sure. But one of the bands is called Canyon Ladies. I think if you look that up, you might find something.
Okay, I'm gonna look that up here once we're done.
Okay.
Perfect. Well, and I know you're pretty busy, so yeah, we're actually kind of at the end of the show. I want to respect your time there.
Okay.
Do you think you could send out the show with like a voice impression of Siri? So the show is called The Archives with Adam and Fab.
Okay, well, I can't do any kind of promotional thing because I would have to charge you for that.
Okay. Well, if you want to close out the show,
I will
definitely do that in your way.
Well, thanks for listening. This is Susan Bennett, the original voice of Siri. And I would just like to say thank you and bye-bye to Adam.
I appreciate you being on today, Susan. It was wonderful talking to you all the way up into this point and even getting you on. I hope it was a little different for you, what you're compared to, used to getting.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Thanks.
Perfect. I'll be looking forward to more work from you in the future.
Okay, good. Me too.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, you have a good day, okay?
Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Archives with Adam and Fab. Be sure to follow us on social media and stream the show wherever you find your favorite podcast. And most importantly, thank you so much for your continued support. We're having a lot of fun making these episodes, and we hope you guys are enjoying them as well. Stay tuned. We have a lot more exciting content for you guys coming soon.